Hey everyone, I know it's that time of year where we're starting to do Christmas bulbs and all of that. So this year I wanted to do a video tutorial for you guys to show you how I glitter my ornaments. I have these plastic ornaments. They are 4 inches. I got them at the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using the Minwax water-based polycrylic. I have clear semi-gloss, but really any finish will work for you guys. I like to use a medicine syringe. I have tons laying around for my kids, so I have the 5 milliliter ones, but you can grab them at any local pharmacy. So I like to start by just holding it like this. I just squirt it in. I did all 5 milliliters to start, and you want to go around and just coat your whole ornament, and you want to make sure you get all of it. If you need to add more polycrylic, you can add more. I like to start with a smaller amount. That way I usually hope that it doesn't take as long to dry because it has less drainage to do. So I got about half of this done with 5 milliliters. So I'm gonna do another 5. And now based on the size of your ornament, you may not need as much. Again, that's why I try to start with a smaller amount, because it will always be different for each size that you do. So now I'm just gonna kind of tip this up here more. I'm gonna let it roll around. And you really just want to coat the whole area. I like to make sure that I get it really up high, but I like to do that towards the end because it's going to all drain out. So you can see, you might not be able to see it as well, but from my angle, I can see exactly how close to the top I'm getting. Whoops. Dripping it out on myself. So now that I coated the whole thing, I'm going to drip back most of it into my polycrylic, and then I'm going to dump this upside down. I bought these styrofoam cups at the dollar store while I was there, and I like those to drain the polycrylic in, and it doesn't take too long to drain everything out. You want everything to drip out until about usually takes about 5 minutes, but you want to drip everything out. You're going to notice, you'll see when it starts, this is still, I can still hear it dripping into the cup. You want it to be at the point where it's barely dripping out to the point it's not dripping out. You don't want the polycrylic to dry, but you want it to be dry enough in there where it's not dripping out anymore. That's really important, because otherwise you're going to get real clumps or stuff falling off. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I've showed you guys how to coat this, I'm going to let these all drip, and then I'll come back when these are done in a couple minutes, and we'll go ahead and start glittering them. All right. Okay, so I waited about 10 minutes. Just to make sure these were really done dripping. So I'm going to show you guys up close. You can see nothing's coming out. So I have these little cups here that I'm going to use to stabilize. I'm going to work one at a time to dump my glitter in. Now I don't know if you can tell, I cleaned this bulb with alcohol, soap and water, and then alcohol, and this one I just cleaned with soap and water. So we're going to do a little test to see how they compare, but always you should always clean your bulbs out. Make sure there's nothing in there that is going to prevent a nice coat for these. So now I don't have a funnel, so what I'm just going to use is a scrap piece of backing from my vinyl. I'm going to just kind of stick it in here. And I have this really fine glitter from the dollar store that I'm going to use to test this out with. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just dump in a little bit at a time. We don't want too much. So we're going to dump it in a little at a time. Okay. Got my little funnel here. And I'm just going to shake it around to coat it. Now it's a little blotchy so far because I don't have a ton of glitter in there yet, but you want to make sure you're not putting too much glitter in. The cup that I put down is for us to stabilize it and then dump the glitter out in so you can save it, but I like to just do a little bit at a time to make sure that I'm getting a nice coat. These ornaments are pretty big, so they are going to require a little more glitter than normal. We want to get a nice coating on here. See, we're getting a real nice coat on it. So this might need a little more glitter. Normally I don't buy, usually I buy bigger packages of glitter, so that's why I do a little bit at a time. These ones don't have quite as much in it, which is fine. I wanted to just use it to test it out and see how it worked. So we're gonna go ahead and just dump the rest of that in, and I might need to open another pack of it. I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna leave this little funnel in here for now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need, I'm gonna just dump this whole other pack in there so that we can get this going here. And then whatever doesn't stick, we are gonna dump out into our little cup and we can reuse, possibly on our next one. And I really like to do these kind of in a all in a row. Like I'm only doing 2 for this video, one cleaning them different ways to see how it goes. But if you set up 5 or 6 at a time, it's going to go a lot faster for you. So I'm just going to keep doing this until now we can kind of put it on here and shake it about. And that's gonna, I might need a little more glitter. These bulbs are really big this year. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab another pack of glitter, put my makeshift funnel back in, and I'm gonna just dump this whole pack in too. This is really fine glitter too. It's harder for you guys to see in the video, but it is very fine. So you want to make sure that you're getting it all in there. Shake off my funnel, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold my cup like this and just shake it. So I'm getting up, up there closer to the top of my bulb. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And I'm just going to kind of shake it and get it all out. And you can look in here. You see, it does look a little blotchy on the outside, from the inside, but on the outside it looks perfect. I'm loving it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to leave this upside down. We're going to let everything fully dry. The polycrylic isn't fully dry yet, so we're going to leave it fully dry. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and we'll come back when those are fully dry. All right, I've let these sit for a few hours. You can let them sit for about 24 hours if you'd like. It's really up to you guys. I usually like to put the caps on after a couple hours. I think that's a good amount of time for me. A lot of people like to let them sit overnight. That's definitely not going to hurt it. So it's really all preference. I'm going to put the caps on and then I'm going to keep them upright overnight, and we'll see how they look in the morning. So I am going to go ahead, and I like to, this is what my top looks like. And I like to squeeze it. I like to squeeze it from the bottom here and then keep holding it from the top while squeezing it. And then stick it in. That way it goes back on nice and easily without any issues. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it down here. I'm going to let it sit overnight. And I'm going to look in here too, make sure I don't have any clumps. It's harder with the black glitter to see, but I don't have any clumps in here. If you do have clumps, make sure you shake it off really well into your cup. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pinch from the bottom while pushing it up, grab it from the top, and put that in. And you can see on this one, I did scratch the top of it. So you have to be careful with that. Mine's not super dry yet, so it did scratch that a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just doing these as a test for you guys. So in order to get these off, you could just squeeze it from the top and pull it up. And I could go ahead and kind of swish it around a little more, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I'm going to really pull this up a little more into the top. That way when I put my cover on, hopefully I don't scratch it. Yeah, that was much better. I didn't really scratch it as much. If you move it around, you're going to have that issue. So you may want to let it dry a little bit longer than I did. But let me see. On the black, it didn't seem to do that. I can't tell that it did that anywhere. So it just might be because the glitter's a little bit lighter. But that is how you glitter a bulb for your Christmas ornaments. And then you can add your vinyl. I'm going to do a Santa cam on one, so I will go ahead and set up a tutorial for that separately. This was just to show you guys how to glitter them.